thing, if we look back at this season so far, their performance at the ICs hasn't really been the greatest.
Yeah.
However, at home, when they are doing those monthly cups, they have pretty much been first every single time, bar one monthly cup. So, I mean, to come in and, I guess, feel cool, calm, and collected on that world stage. Obviously, this isn't their first rodeo here, but really, that Rayquaza fight just demonstrated that patience is a virtue, right? Even though they're on the back foot, I think the fact that they were able to go and make the right calls, go in for the engages at the right time, and come out successful, ended up really paying off for them.
It was impressive. I really liked what they had in that Nouns Esports squad, but let's talk a little bit about PaperX in this last matchup. I want to just start by saying their draft felt very not PaperX. This is a team that we see truly some of the craziest picks out of. To be fair, I think Mimikyu is an interesting pick in the metagame of this tournament. Certainly not common, but we've seen things like Greedent on this team and things like that. Maybe the Blastoise with this rapid spin build was looking to try to achieve something, but I think Toon and Gatlu did a really good job of just avoiding the Blastoise at all costs. Of course, as I'm saying that on the replay, Blastoise knocks out Toon Slim, but still, I thought they did a really good job of setting up those flanks, even with a really tanky front line.
Even then, going back and looking at replay, the way that Toon locked down that Hooper with that Unite move to prevent them from going and helping their team. But Nouns Esports, we have our MVP of that match, Dodrio, played by Gatlu there. And as you mentioned, just Gatlu and Toon, both the double speedsters, working so well in tandem with each other.
Yeah, so well. It's a really funny thing for these MVP. I feel like every time we bring up Dodrio, we're talking scores of 200 plus, maybe even 300.
89?
But only 89. This, again, felt like such a patient, slow game where we have seen, honestly, in this metagame and metagames prior, is just over-aggression being by far the best strategy. But both of these teams biding their time, trying to take the best advantageous team fight, and playing for a lot of poke damage. And when you got players like Gatlu on Dodrio or Toon on this Galarian Rapidash, you can wait for the perfect moment and then get these huge burst damage timings. So far, Nouns executing that strategy really, really well, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they want to change up their draft, where I think PaperX definitely is going to be shifting it up. First and foremost, I'm thinking Suicune's hitting the ban phase.
Ooh, you think so? I mean, we have seen so many different bans here today.
True.
I feel like there's been a lot of respect bans coming on out. Things
Which
that you
normally we don't see that
wouldn't
until like day 2.
No, exactly. So clearly these teams have been doing their homework. But we'll have to see whether your call is right here and PaperX do decide to ban that Suicune this time around. We can see them hovering over that Blissey so far as we are heading into that second pick ban phase.
All right, they're just going to be running it back, it seems, at least so far. Nouns Esports are, of course, going to ban that Ho-Oh. 54% ban rate. Charizard only at 32%, but it will be a repeat ban phase for PaperX. So far, my prediction of them shifting it up could not be more wrong, as both these teams are going to be locking in identical bans. But of course, we got a brand new draft to look at. And thank you, Nouns Esports, for shifting it up. I'm not wrong about the bans changing. I am wrong about the last thing about them being the same, but that's all right. Latios, going to be banned by Nouns.
I think this is a really interesting call. I mean, Latios today, I feel like, has been very much hit or miss.
Yes, 100%.
Wasn't worthy of banning this time round, considering they were able to go and counter it the last time. But I guess, you know what? Because Nouns Esports have banned that Latios, Yang is able to pick up that Suicune themselves. And if you don't ban it and you are in that first pick position, well, hey, that gives you that prime opportunity.
Yeah, first picking Suicune just feels so powerful. I know Spraggles and Doomsnacks were talking a lot during their commentary session about how strong this Pokemon is. In particular, I think one of the Suicune's best assets is the Unite move, specifically on top of Rayquaza. Any melee Pokemon that is trying to land a big secure finds it so difficult when you hit that endless ice spikes that Suicune can create. It's a huge freeze. It can be tough. I wouldn't be surprised if Nouns Esports maybe put Gatlu on something like a Blaziken, who is a good unstoppable secure, to try to add a little bit of counterplay to those final moments, but Then again, Dodrio was looking good, so we'll see.
But that's the thing, having that Suicune on the other side, is Dodrio really going to have that chance to shine? We already have Rapidash being selected by Odesu, whether we'll see those switches later on, but there we go! We have Inda on the Alcremie. We did see that played over on that B stream, but we actually get to see it here. So I'm really excited to see how Alcremie fares out. It's one of our newest supporters that we've had enter the fray. Yeah,
and only at a 7% pick rate, so not getting a lot of representation in this tournament, but it is going to be showing up. PaperX going to grab the Mewtwo-Y on their side of things. And
no way!
Thank you, Toon Slim. Thank you so much. I did make a bold prediction. I thought this Pokemon was going to do well. Let's go. Toon Slim, absolute go. Is going to be locking in the Gardevoir, who is at a surprising 14% pick rate, by the way. And this is an interesting one. It does slightly outrange the Suicune, probably at the same range-ish with the Mewtwo-Y. However, you want to take a look at a few of these picks. I think the Galarian Rapidash and the Gardevoir are going to work really well in tandem. The Gardevoir has one of those features with a lot of their moves having special defense shred. Whenever they land them, it does reduce so much of those defenses, and Galarian Rapidash just waits till a couple of those Psychic Tech hits and then jumps right in for a big knockout. I think we're going to see some really nice plays between those two special attackers.
Yeah, interesting calls here to see this come in to play. We'll have to see how it fares out for Nouns. They obviously have that one-up advantage so far. We've only had the one Game 3 on broadcast so far, so we'll have to see whether it's going to be another 2-0 streak to match those patterns, or, you know, we're already almost at that halfway point. Whether we'll see another Game 3, because things are getting tighter.
Yeah, let's shake it up. Let's get to a Game 3. I would love that. Listen, I know there's a lot of Nouns fans here in the venue watching at home, but I know there is a ton of PaperX fans as well. So let's get into it. Game number 2. PaperX going to be your purple team. Nouns Esports, your orange team. Nouns Esports, of course, with that one game advantage. PaperX, we're going back to the drawing board, enter back in with a Zacian, and of course that Suicune going to the top side.
I've got to say, Ponyta earlier on is so good. The way that you end up getting that speed buff whenever you end up hitting that move is so beneficial in terms of dodging your opponents. But PaperX are aware of this. They played really aggressively towards Nouns Esports side to go and contest those wild Pokemon.
Yeah, they are playing the Umbreon, a Pokemon that has kind of fallen off in popularity, at least a lot in the West. However, in the East, this Pokemon is still a very prominent and popular pick. One of the big kind of factors working against it is its early game is a little tough. It evolves at level 4, but you really start to hit some of those power spikes you're looking for in Umbreon around level 6. So for a supporter-type Pokemon, that can be tough. Thing is, Alcremie kind of fits that build too. Of course, you get up to that level 4, but you really want both of your moves on that Pokemon. As now, Ender still sitting at that level 3.
Yeah, unable to really do much, as we have PaperX making a move on that bottom path because it's only Bruv left to defend. But even then, they didn't even bother defending, letting those little dunks go on through. Gatlu just creeping towards the wall, hoping to go and get in there. 14 points, but looks like PaperX are taking a page out of Nouns Esports book from previous game and playing really aggressive earlier on in their central area.
Yeah, I mean, we got Toon to do a whole lot of damage, but it's into rebonks with that Umbreon. So just absorbs so much of that Psyshock damage, able to easily walk away. PaperX going to walk away with a few central area buffs. Gatlu looking to see if they can take some back. I think they were stolen by their teammate. His Galarian Rapidash for Odesu does secure one, but taken back by that Zacian. HT putting on a really good performance in both games 1 and now looking at game 2.
Yeah, interesting call here. Despite those birds spawning in that central area, PaperX are going to continue this momentum to the top half and look at dunking more AOS energy, leaving all of that experience untouched for a whole 20 seconds. But both defenders fighting on out for the time being, but I guess Gatlu is here, so Rebonks needs to back on up for the time being.
They're going to try to stop the scores briefly if they can, but Bruv not having enough to stop in time. And of course, that Dodrio passive is so beneficial to Gatlu getting those early scores in. Bruv will heavy slam and no mean look to lock them in place at the moment, so Bruv will be able to rally back and run all the way back to their side of the map.
Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. That is Gatlu on the Dodrio, man.
I love it. Also, small shout out, happy birthday to our Snorlax player in this matchup, as it is Bruv HD's birthday. So happy birthday. What a present to be making it into day 2 of the World Championships already. I think they'd love that present to transform into top of their group.
Yeah, so whether they're going to get that extra gift, we'll have to wait and see. But Nouns Esports have decided to abandon that Reggie steal down in that bottom path and prioritize this Reggie Alecki. PaperX having that attack and special attack buff here are going to continue this momentum because Nouns Esports, they're outnumbered.
Yeah, but they're doing a pretty good job of defending this. Birthday boy with the block holds on for quite a while as Inder keeps them up and running with these constant recover dollops. That was a 2-on-5 fight around that goal zone, and now Esports holds strong. So again, this patient defensive play works out yet again.
Yeah, it was actually a really good call there to go and take that Reggie Alecki, get in and take that lead now at 125 to 92 points. And Gatlu even continue to get in some dunks in this tier 2, but they did stick around for a little too long there, unsuccessful to escape that one.
Yeah.
No escape from the oven there one.
I think the intent was they had 3 Pokemon chasing them down, so maybe Nouns Esports could have had a 4-on-2 advantage on this bottom tier 1. But again, defensive play reigning supreme in this match specifically as PaperX holds down that tier 1 defensively yet again. So Nouns Esports does have the points advantage right now, but again, it is so slim between these two teams because of how well they are defending these tier 1s and maybe even that tier 2 in PaperX's case.
The thing is, if we are looking at the levels right now, we have 3 double digits on the side of PaperX, 2 now on the sides of Nouns Esports, but Zarshan reaching that level 11 mark. I feel like it's just been slowly in the back line, power creeping.
Yeah.
Just unexpectedly.
Which is surprising because it's playing in that top path. Of course, I do think it is a good matchup in Dodrio. It can be hard to hunt down some of those knockouts unless you're expending that AO synergy on empowered agilities or things like that, or play rough potentially. But that goal zone breaking, I think, would normally give us the impression that the top side was won by Nouns Esports. Either way, HD got a whole lot of levels to work with. Dodrio looking to see if they can find that at level 11. Going to take their time rotating down towards the Regirock as Inder is setting up for, of course, a big old party as they're setting up all those dollops early for Bruv to keep picking up.
No, when there is a birthday, there's got to be cake, and Inder is definitely bringing that, but first they need to prioritize this Regirock. Bruv able to grab themselves a piece of cake, sustaining this fight, going in with the power nap because of that food coma. Regirock getting chipped away, but Nouns Esports, they don't take the gift of the buff. Instead, it looks like they're getting KO'd with 2 members now down.
All right, this could be a big scoring opportunity. Inder did have to use their Ignite move to kind of preserve themselves for the defense, but they were so far away from the goal zone, they couldn't kind of help the whole team. Instead, they just had to use their Ignite move to keep themselves up. So now it's up to this poor Alcramity to try to stop these scores. Bruv has returned, and a big block will defend this goal zone yet again. PaperX stays behind Nouns Esports by just a few points, but Nouns Esports holding onto their lead.
Really, at this point, it could be anybody's game. PaperX doing such a great defense of this bottom pad, but Nouns Esports looks like they're looking to take this because they're not retreating just yet.
Yeah, okay, we see Adesu go in and tries to get the Smart Strike run onto Umbreon. I think they would love to find a damage carry to kind of block and maybe set up Bruv for a bit of a kidnapping opportunity. Not going to have that one this time around. Rebong sitting in on a big push. Foul plays back. Suicune will knock out Gardevoir. Toonslim being out of this team fight is a scary outlook for Nouns Esports. And finally, this tier 1 will fall.
Yeah, after a forever backwards and forth, we finally had that tier 1 being broken. Gatlu not having enough points on hand to go and break that tier 1 back of their own. Reggie Alecki is still up in this top path with less than a minute left to go until Rayquaza, but we can see the minimap. There's so much wild Pokemon for the taking for both sides.
Yeah, certainly a lot for PaperX. They're kind of dragging their feet on getting those knockouts. Nouns Esports certainly needs some, though, as Gardevoir has not hit that level 13 yet. Unite move will still be formidable, but needing both those plus moves, I think it's going to be paramount in this final fight. Reggie Alecki will be knocked out for Nouns Esports with Pokemon like Dodrio and Galarian Rapidash. Even a later score could be very threatening if Reggie Alecki is allowed to walk in. And with PaperX all rotating down towards the bottom side, that is almost assuredly going to be the case.
Well, I was going to say, we said it was a close match. Could be anybody's game, but with 1.6 difference, well, Nouns Esports have now changed that because Reggie Alecki ended up crashing on through. Looks like they're not actually going to prioritize just breaking it, but we can see they don't really have much AOS energy on hand, but they want to make sure they are in position as Paper Rex are looking to take a fight.
Ooh, Desu getting stunned so many times and will get KO'd. Mewtwo just with some auto attacks on the outside. Not a Unite move used for Paper Rex yet, and they're already at a 5v4 advantage.
Oh, we do have that block making sure to sustain brothers. Mewtwo is also going to use their Unite move. Rayquaza is quite lone as it rains down the meteors, and Paper Rex, it ends up being HT to lock that down, and also 4 members of Nouns Esports are down.
Wow, okay. I mean, Paper Rex, very clean execution of that final fight. We saw them favor that basement Reggie, getting the defense buff for their entire team with all 5 members, and then rotating up towards the Rayquaza, kind of putting the onus on Nouns Esports. You're going to be showing up to this Rayquaza late, and you're going to be showing up without a buff. That means we have the advantage. HT immediately starts hitting the Rayquaza and kind of leaves Rebongs on that Umbreon and Yang on that Blast Switch to buy a little bit of time towards the top side. It's just enough, and they're going to secure that Rayquaza, and now, very likely, we're going to be headed to a game winner.
Oh, well, 45 seconds left to go, but we still have Paper Rex with some shields on hand as they are collapsing towards this home pad where Nouns Esports has decided to take base. And yeah, I think they're just going to take this time to rethink what are they going to do next as we are about to head on into that round 3 situation.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting game. I mean, these two teams trading some really interesting endgame matchups. I mean, it has been like one of those, I think we like to call them cerebral matchups, you know? A lot of macros differences between these teams, patient play, poke damage, flanks, big blocks, any kind of crowd control. It feels like any tiny mistake is exposed by the other team, and Paper Rex really finding the way to execute in that game number 2.
Yeah, 100%. Even though Paper Rex lost that previous game, they definitely learned a lot from that. As you mentioned earlier on, taking a page out of Nouns Esports book there to play really aggressively and not allowing Nouns Esports to kind of hand that back there. So obviously it's that moment of truth. We're going to have to see whether Nouns Esports still have it and can take this win against Paper Rex and obviously Yang and Rebongs back from 2022, or whether it's that long-awaited revenge match that Yang and Rebongs and obviously the whole of Paper Rex can just demonstrate how far APAC West has come since then. I mean, look, considering not just their team, but APAC West as a region, they have been doing pretty well so far in the tournament.
Exactly, yeah. I'm excited to see Talon play a little bit later on. East, actually. You know, I got to relook at the group's graphic eventually, but taking a look at that replay from game number 2. Some interesting draft picks for Nouns Esports, specifically in that Alchemy. I think it worked really well alongside that Snorlax. But take a look at this final fight and where the Zacian is playing for the majority of it. I mean, eventually they just go, all right, well, I'll just take down this Rayquaza. I kind of trust this Blastoise and Suicune and Umbreon to create enough space and almost make it impossible for Nouns Esports to get into that mix. So Trio does show up, but a Unite move kind of targeting on the outside means they can't knock up anybody in the inside of that Rayquaza pit. It's a tough angle, simple geometry, unfortunately being Nouns' downfall, at least in the specific Dodrio example.
I think it was just a really intuitive play from Paper Rex there to trust HT to shred down that Rayquaza, even though we couldn't actually see the Rayquaza on the screen. You could see that bar slowly, it seemed like it ended up going down really quickly, and then we pan on